Hi there. I want to offer some tips for managing cravings during dry January or any month-long alcohol experiment. I'm Martha Wright. I'm a sobriety mindful drinking coach, and I work with clients one-on-one or in small groups through my own private practice, Clear Power Coaching, but I'm also a certified senior coach with This Naked Mind, which is founded by author Annie Grace. And in that program, I'm coaching hundreds of people. So the experience, the tips that I'm offering here are not just from my own experience, but really from thousands of people in that community as well. So kudos to you. This is so cool that you are doing a dry January, a month off. It's a really bold thing to do in our very alcohol-soaked culture. So just hope you give yourself tons of credit. I really recommend that you watch my other video, How to Rock Dry January, because in that I share some really important tips around mindset. What is the sort of mindset that we can come into the experiment with that really sets us up for success? Also in that video, I shared some of my favorite non-alcoholic beverages, and you can check those out on my website, clearpowercoaching.com, and go to the resources page. At this point, I've tasted over 100 different non-alcoholic beverages. I've gone to a lot of expense and trouble to order them from all over the country and the world, and I want to help save you some time and money by reviewing those. But let's get into tips for cravings. What you really can think about doing is mixing up your routine, your patterns, your kind of habitual, daily life. Mix it up so that you're interrupting your patterns. If wine o'clock for you was, you're starting to think about that glass of wine at 4 o'clock, that's a great time to just head out the door with an awesome podcast that is inspirational to you. You can, a lot of people find it helpful to prep for meals earlier in the day. Cooking can be a trigger for people, so if that's the case for you, that's a great tip to prep and chop and get things ready. Then cooking is just coming together really easily and you don't have necessarily that association. Or some people cook the whole meal, cook dinner earlier. Some people find eating dinner earlier is helpful. You also can just take a awesome warm bath or shower right at that sort of wine o'clock or drinking trigger time. And that is a great way to interrupt the habit or pattern in your life. There's so many different things we could do. Is there something online, a virtual class or group that you're interested in that you could engage with at that time? I know a lot of people find it really helpful to do something with their hands, and I've heard from multiple people that those adult coloring books are really helpful. So I know people who love to color or to do puzzles, and something about doing something with your hands. So puzzles or knitting, I've heard that as a really great tactic too. For me, the physical exercise was just super helpful. So getting out for a walk was really, really helpful. And continue to think of things to just interrupt your normal habit and routine. Another thing we really want to think about is just understanding the brain and understanding that our brain is not us. Our thoughts are not personal. They're not us. Our brain is one organ, and even then it is made up of different parts, and they have different agendas. So when we hear these thoughts that you're likely to hear pop up, you might have a thought pop up that says, I picked a terrible time to do this. I really don't. I don't know why I thought January would be good. I've got, an anniversary. I've got such and such reunion. I've got this virtual thing. That voice is just that primitive brain. The primitive brain, the lower brain, has a very different agenda, and it is always going to prioritize conserving energy, moving away from pain and toward pleasure, and just doing what is familiar. And I think it can really help and be empowering to know that that's what you're going to be facing, and then you're prepared. And then when that happens, you're not hearing it as, oh my God, I'm so weak, I never finish anything I start. You're not doing that, you're prepared. Lower brain is going to start talking to you, okay? Some people find it helpful to name that lower brain. I had one person that told me they teach kids about the lower brain, and I think that's so clever, and they call it the naughty meerkat brain. So people make up funny names for that voice, whether it's the wine witch or whatever. But whatever your name is, that can help remind you that this is not personal, it's not you, it's not saying anything about you, it's just that part of the brain has a very specific agenda. We also, by understanding that, we can really feel more empowered to know that we can talk back to the lower brain. We are not stuck, that part of the brain has a thought. You are not obliged to honor it. And that is really helpful. The other thing that we talk about is surfing an urge. The vocabulary and the way we think of it really matters. If you talk about fighting an urge, talking about like it's combat, that is difficult because anything that we resist will persist. So instead of thinking of it as a fighting off an urge, allow it. Be curious instead of just thinking, oh my gosh, this urge has come up and that's so threatening. Try amusement. Try being like, that is so interesting. Very interesting that I've just felt my brain ping. Really interesting that voice is coming up. Let me see where I noticed that. What did it feel like where did I notice that in my body? All of that kind of stuff. So surfing an urge means that we allow it, we notice that it just kind of builds, it crests, and then it recedes. And the thing is, they are a lot shorter than we think. So, just know that it's going to be shorter than you think. You can do this. One of the other techniques is to get back into the physical body. And that brain is working, and what can really help is to do something that's grounding. And the simplest, quickest way is to just wiggle your toes, feel your feet. Do it right now. And you notice, oh my gosh, that's so true. You suddenly get more aware of your physical body out of your head. And I know people who swear by doing jumping jacks. Just start doing some jumping jacks as in that moment of feeling an urge, and that can really, again, help get back into your physical body, get grounded. My favorite tip of all is hydration. If we are drinking, we are dehydrated. All of us are just chronically dehydrated, and we don't realize how much of a craving is actually thirst. So in the face of a craving, drink a big glass of water, and what that will do is not necessarily eliminate the craving, but it's just going to bring it way down so that these other measures are effective. And just feel good knowing that you're creating a new neural pathway. This is what this is. Every time for years when you responded to a craving by pouring a drink, what we were doing was we were creating a very deep neural groove, a neural pathway of that craving and the response. And you can just feel awesome knowing that every time you decide to do something different, every time you get in the bathtub instead, or you walk outside to walk the dog, or you call a friend, or as the weather gets warmer, if you decide pack up your dinner and take a picnic to the park. Sign up for a, disco exercise class on a virtual thing, at that time. Every time you make that decision, instead of pouring the glass, you're starting a new neural pathway. And that is so cool. You should be very proud of that. You should be so proud of even engaging in this dry month. It's a cool thing to do in our alcohol-fueled culture. And I definitely want to support you. You can find more resources on my website, clearpowercoaching.com. I'm always available for a free chat, so just book that through my site. And I'm cheering you on. You've got this. Take care.